have the Inductrix inducted fan, basically the, well, tiny whoop, plug and play, which is really nice. Everything's been really streamlined and made super easy. This thing came out of the box, dialed in. The motors are underpowered though. They're really weak. So they're getting upgraded to the bigger motors. I wanted to really play with it though, with the stock motors before though, just to see. And for me personally, I can't do any acro with these stock motors. There's no punch. And I mean, you have to just do everything perfect with these motors. It just doesn't have enough. This, on the other hand, you wouldn't believe it, but these little motors just are kicking on this thing. It has plenty of oomph to do flips and rolls. No induction, so you have exposed props. That's a negative. The other negative with this one was, I do like the design. I mean, both of these are really cool looking drones. But the real negative for me with the OCDay was, well, it's part of the positive and the negative. It has a micro SD port, so you can plug into clean flight and beta flight. And it actually needed quite a bit of configuration. That's an understatement. It needed a shite ton of configuration before you could get this thing flying. And if this is your first quad or anything, this is not what you want to do. Because it requires, well, it might be. It just depends, I guess, on the level of your interest in the hobby and how much you're ready to invest into figuring stuff out. Because this is just like a miniature version of a real racing quad. And everything's crammed in here really tight. So, like, it was a learning process. Going through clean flight, having to set stuff to brushed motors, you know, PIDs ratings. What really caught me was the accelerometer and the gyroscope are put in there with a 180-degree clockwise flip. Well, no one says, it doesn't say that anywhere. So I had to figure that out, and once I plugged that, and the thing wouldn't fly. I mean, because it basically was reading, you know, like a regular gyroscope and accelerometer, and this is all, it would just go whoosh, every time I take off, and I'd be like, you know, I know how to fly quads, and everything's dialed, you know, everything's on my receiver right, I have the modes right, I tested all the motors, made sure they were turning right, I knew I had my props right. I mean, I did everything, and this sucker wouldn't fly, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what a waste of my money. Well, once I had finally plugged in that and figured that out, and it was pretty easy. You just go right into the configuration, and it's right there, gyroscope and accelerometer, and it has a listing of the different, for alterations to that, you can pick. I mean, it wasn't like I had to type anything in. It was right there, 180 degrees clockwise flip. And boom, once I did both of those, the thing flying. So that is great. I'm still playing with the PIDs though, because it's really, like, it gets up there and it's just all over the place. It's a real sloppy flyer right now, and I'm trying to get it tight. And I mean, basically I want this to fly like this, which I know might not ever happen, but I know I can get it flying a lot tighter. Similar to this, the way this is just dialed in and out of the box. You put it in level mode, you can fly it all the way around your house. You put it in acro mode, and you can think you're Mr. Steel, but you're not, and have some fun. But it really needs bigger motors, but you know, they're both around $100. Okay, both run off of DSM2 or DSMX Spectrum based receivers. Both have excellent 600 TVL cameras. Both have the antennas. This one has a much more protected antenna than this one. This one you can hook up to clean flight and beta flight. This one you cannot. This one does have plug and play motors, so you can upgrade the motors very easily. This one, you are pretty much stuck with the motors that are on it. yeah, it would be really kind of difficult to upgrade those to larger size. That would be more work than I want to do. And you also have exposed wires down here, which I have some VHB tape or something I'm going to put over there and give us some added protection to those. This is a really cool little drone. Both of them are. I'd say if you are just getting into the hobby and you want something that's, and you're looking for something that you just take out of the box, you can fly right away and learn the characteristics of drones and how to fly it well, this is definitely what I go with, the Inductrix. It's dialed in. You're also using different style batteries. This is the newer style of 1-cell. It's super micro. It's just crazy to me what they're packing. I mean, that's a 1-cell, 220 milliamp. Oh, that's the other thing. The stock battery that comes with this is crap. It's even weaker than the ones you'll buy. These are about $7 or $8 a pop, so they're not cheap. Well, I guess they are compared to other drones and batteries. So everything's micro, but I always look at it relative. And the thing with these upgraded Fat Shark batteries, the 220 milliamp as opposed to the 200 milliamp, you wouldn't think there'd be that big a difference. There is. This thing is, you get about 2 minutes of good flying time with this, and then it starts to juice out, and you'll be like full throttle, and you'll just be like just off the ground. Where this at least has punch, some punch, and you'll be banging off the ceiling, which is better than trying to just stay off the ground. But these motors are a bit underpowered. That's the only complaint on this. But for someone who's learning in your first drone you're picking up, it's perfect. And it still gets moving. Trust me, put it in acro mode or even just get it full tilt in level mode and you'll get cooking. This one is a bit more advanced, and it's just the way it's set up. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, just look at the motors. They're a bit beefier than that, but they weigh. This is heavier, a lot heavier than this. Well, not that much. It is heavier though. But this is just got more juice to it than this one, quite a bit. It has like a 600 milliamp as opposed to a 200 milliamp battery going to it, so it's quite a bit more juice. But yeah, that's that. So, in my opinion, they're both great micro drones. But if I was going to spend my money, and this was my first drone, or I wanted something that I didn't have to mess with clean flight or beta flight, then you got to go with the Inductrix. If you are serious about the hobby and you want something that maybe is different than what everyone has, and is a good micro and is something that you can tune and you go into clean flight and change all the modes and do neat stuff with, then this is your probably winner. But I think both are good. So this wait a second. Okay. Oh, Johnny. Oh, and now one of my motors isn't spooling up. Isn't that great? Hey, you hippie. Well, there you go. I'm glad you guys watched. I'm having a blast with these quads. The Inductrix is definitely my favorite right now, but I'm just glad I got this sucker flying finally.